Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching Breathe Air from the European server and their buddy Foshyyasek playing in the Leopard and the Manticore. And these two are going to be quite the dynamic duo on the battlefield in an incredible act of teamwork that manages to get this game absolutely down to the wire. Now, whether they pull through it or not, that would be spoiling things. You're just going to have to check out the video to be able to see. So, Breathe Air, playing in the Tier 10 German medium tank, the Leopard, has elected to use a rotation device with a gun rammer and vents for their build here. Now, it's interesting for me to see a rotation device used on the Leopard instead of maybe something like vertical stabilizers, because the Leopard has really good traverse speeds, and its turret traverse is not bad as well. So, Breathe Air, when you check out this video, please let me know why you're using the rotation device on this vehicle and not the vert stabs. I'd like to clarify that the rotation device is a standard piece of equipment on this tank, not either a bounty, and there isn't a bot rotation device in the game, at least for now. So maybe Breathe Air just prefers using the slot bonus and would rather have 12.5% to their traverse speed and 12.5% to their gun handling than having a flat 20% buff, because maybe they don't have access to a bounty vert stab. I kind of do the same on my bat chat. I actually like to use a rotation device instead of vert stabs on my bat chat, but that's because the traverse speed on the bat chat is horrendous and it feels like it turns like a boat, and I really find that in the end I get myself into those close quarters combat situations with the bat chatillon, and I want to have all of the mobility at my disposal to be able to keep flanking my opponents and unloading that magazine and not getting caught out in front of them. So, Breathe Air and Foshy here, with Foshy setting up in this little alcove that you can see with these hot springs here in the center. And this position is deadly for sneaky light tanks, and none really more sneaky at tier 10 than a Manticore. From here, Foshy is going to be able to set up a wonderful span of vision all the way across this central southern area of the map. And of course, what better tank to be able to lay down firepower at a decent distance than the fabulous tier 10 German medium tank, the Leopard. This thing is the most accurate medium in the game at 0.29 base accuracy. It also has a lovely rate of fire, great alpha damage, and wonderful standard and premium APCR ammunition. What is up with players and moving their premium rounds to their 1 key? Are they trying to trick me right now? Yeah, apparently Breathe Air feels like premium rounds should be the standard in World of Tanks. 323 millimeters of penetration on the gold on this tank and 278 on the standard. And just look at the shell velocities. 1,480 and 1,613. You could pretty much auto-aim these gold rounds and it's most likely to still hit the target before they've managed to get out of the way. Now, of course, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Firstly, very expensive way to play World of Tanks. Secondly, remember, the auto-aim doesn't take into account giving lead to the target, so unless the vehicle is completely stationary, there's no benefit to using it. Plus, do you really have so many other things that you have to do inside World of Tanks rather than actually focusing on shooting the perfect shot at the tank that you're engaging? What are you doing? Berating your teammates in the chat? Some other things with your hands? Don't answer that. That's purely for artillery players. Hopefully not for players who are actually playing, you know, real tanks like the Leopard as well. So just look at what the Leopard's able to do from this high ground position. The Rinoceronte trying to make their way in through the south of the map. The Progetto trying to scurry their way through the center. Whoa, a little bit of a miss shot there. And I saw the mouse wheel in and out in frustration. You wouldn't be the first person to do that, Breathe Air. Trust me, you wouldn't be the first person to do that. I've actually probably got myself into a pretty bad habit, but I do stream of kind of like sitting back after shells and kind of, you know, reacting to it. It definitely doesn't help, and sometimes it actually probably makes me not aim the subsequent shell well as well. But you know what? At the end, it's for entertainment and for comedy, right? But yeah, if I want to be in like a full competitive form, it's definitely not good to get into that kind of habit. Although, you know, you've got to let the frustration out somehow. And let me know in the comments, what are your favorite ways to let out frustration from World of Tanks? Do you have like a specific vehicle you go and play, or do you go and do something else? Do you Alt F4? Do you uninstall the game? Or do you just not play the game in the first place? Do you not actually enter into that realm of frustration? Let me know in the comments, that should be an interesting one. So, Breathe Air and Foshyyasek doing an absolutely phenomenal job of just keeping their team in this game. But even with the 4,000 damage that Breathe Air has managed to spank out in this game, their team is still down by 3,000 hit points and 3 kills. And Breathe Air here is quite rightly going to go back and use another bush location. This is kind of like just a dream map for a vehicle like this, isn't it? An absolute dream map for a vehicle like this. The Leopard, you just want to be on the fringes, you want to be sniping at a decent distance where your opponents might miss you, hopefully missing the horrible armor that's on this vehicle, but your shells are going to hopefully fly true with their great shell velocity and great penetration. So unfortunately this T-124 is getting caught out, but as we can see, while Breathe Air is trying to get ready to shoot at the IS-7, we see that Foshyyasek is now going and sitting in a rather inconspicuous bush. You wouldn't really think that there'd be a light tank there, but while Foshy is getting into that sneaky position, we see Breathe Air nail the IS-7, taking out their tracks, I believe, and also locking them in place. So now if they hit them in tracks again, they won't be able to avoid. So remember, Breathe Air right now should be far enough behind the bushes so they are no longer transparent, which will mean that they can fire through without getting spotted. And this is World of Tanks Sniping 101. And unfortunately, Breathe Air and Foshy's team are just melting all around them, down by 4 tanks now in a 4 versus 8 scenario, with artillery trying to remove their friend in the TVP. But this is where just, oh, lovely, lovely shots here into this IS-7. The artillery reveals their position. Probably not going to be long left for this world after revealing their position. But it allows Breathe Air to be able to finish off the Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank and turn their attention towards the 121B, who was hounding down the TVP. The 121B misses Breathe Air, quickly loading in a shell. And here we go. The dynamic duo of Breathe Air and Foshy are now in a 1 versus 7, which is quickly changed to a 1 versus 6, but look at the hit point differential. It's double the hit points, double the guns, actually triple the guns. How are Breathe Air and Foshy going to get through this? Well, it looks like Foshy finally realizes that he's going to have to get out of there before the 907 manages to cross the gap. The 121B also managing to make their way through, and I like it. Breathe Air originally goes for the auto-aim, then realizing that auto-aim is for amateurs, and manually aims the kill shot into the 121B. Now trying to find a shot into the 907, trying to save their friend. Foshy gets a shot right into the back of a turret, and now it's just about hoping that the 2 most dangerous TDs aren't going to be able to clap them, but it's the one that you don't think about, the T-110E4, that actually manages to find the shell into Breathe Air. 774 hit points gone in a heartbeat. Artillery hopefully managing to miss Foshy and also Breathe Air, and they've just got to get out of the way of the line of fire of the WTLV-100 and using the mobility of the Leopard and the mobility of the Manticore to be able to get behind the T-110E4 here. Now hopefully managing to lock down the tracks again so they can't turn that turret because it's locked to 90 degrees to the left and 90 degrees to the right, and they managed to finish off another tank, changing their 2 versus 7 now into a 2 versus 3. Odds still in the enemy team's favor, with them having double the hit points. So Breathe Air and Foshy, hopefully this artillery shell isn't going to hit. Medkit just goes down there with 4 seconds left. And this is an interesting decision by Breathe Air, and I have to admit, I think this is a misplay. Breathe Air actually, I believe, uses the medkit with only 2 seconds left on the stunning. That's a misplay, unless I'm missing something and maybe there was a bug and there was a crew member dead. Definitely should have saved the medkit there in case something bad happens with the next artillery stun. I'm trying to get myself to make sure I'm not wasting medkits recently, and it's been helping a little bit. 9,000 damage for Breathe Air, and I think you could probably forgive them for wasting the medkit in this tense situation. And Breathe Air bounces the WTLV-100, fails to pen the high explosive round on the side of the Waffenträger LV-100. And wow, that was lucky. This would have been a completely different game altogether. And now it's interesting that Breathe Air is actually spotting for Foshy in their Manticore, but we just gotta hope that Breathe Air is going to be able to keep cool and get away from that position, otherwise the artillery is likely to be able to punish them. Thankfully, it looks like the Batchat 15558 has a very long reload and wasn't able to shut down Foshy in that scenario. Breathe Air is very excited and says, I have almost 10k. Wow. Okay, Breathe Air, I believe in you. It took me many, many years, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to smash it in this game. as well as also possibly picking up a Top Gun medal here. Or if Foshy gets a couple of kills, it could be a beautiful Brothers in Arms medal, but oh dear. 2 vehicles enter the cap circle at the same time. It looks like those tier 10 TDs have made their way into the cap circle, or alternatively, the very fast French self-propelled gun, which has relocated away from Foshyyasek, who was trying to find them, might be also assisting in the cap. So this is tense. They could be anywhere, but when there's only 24 seconds left to interrupt, you don't have a long time. And this is where that 70 kilometers an hour top speed on the Leopard allows Breathe Air to be able to get back towards the cap circle, find the artillery that was molesting them earlier, and put a high explosive round into the turret of the Batchat 15558, but unfortunately getting spotted. That means that now Breathe Air is 49 damage away from being able to pick up a 10,000 damage game. But that frag on the Batchat 15558 have also secured them a Top Gun. So the enemy FV215B, or the Fosh, or the WTRP 100 leaves the cap circle, realizing that they are completely out in the open, and boom, baby! The Breathe Air there, keeping cool, finishing off the FV215B 183, and now it's a 1 versus 2 scenario. But this is a 1 versus 2 scenario against a very dangerous tank destroyer in the form of the WTRP 100, which it kind of really negates all of those kind of 1 versus whatever scenarios when you've got a mag that's able to dispatch both of the tanks within 2 seconds. We see Breathe Air going for the high explosive round there against the weak turret armor of the WTRP 100. And how are the duo going to be able to finish what has been a tremendous carry in this game? Well, surely they've got to try and advance Foshy to be able to get in this fight. Unfortunately, Breathe Air actually gets spotted, so he's just got to hold the position and be ready to shoot if the WT advances. Try and keep the attention of the WT while we see that Foshy is actually going to be able to advance and try and get the crossfire in as well. Now, they've got to be really careful because Foshy is only about like a 40% chance to be able to finish off the WT in this scenario. But he's got the shot. Hopefully he's loaded high explosive rounds, but the WT actually manages to turn their gun round, and it doesn't look like Foshy wants to come after it. Okay, Breathe Air. 1 kill away from a Radley Walters medal, and it looks like they're being greedy. Uh-oh. Looks like Foshy is actually not going to shoot the WT Alfie 100 because they want to be able to get Breathe Air the... Whoa! The Radley Walters medal. Oh my goodness gracious. Breathe Air, it looks like you found your best friend, probably for the rest of time. Can you believe it that Foshyyasek was willing to tank 2 rounds from the WT Alfie 100 there to be able to secure Breathe Air, a Radley Walters medal, and 10,500 damage? Although, guys, I think that was a little bit risky, because can the 510 damage actually roll low enough to not finish off the WT Alfie 100 there? Well, 510 minus 125, which would definitely be below the 420 hit points that WT Alfie 100 had. Now, you probably, because you wanted to feed the Radley Walters medal to Breathe Air, actually gave the WT maybe like a 1 in 10 chance of you low rolling the shell and managing to win that game. So a little bit greedy play there by the dynamic duo, but whew, at least all's well that ends well in this game of World of Tanks. But the fact that it also had the camaraderie with Foshyyasek was just a thing of beauty. This was just a tremendous, feels-good game of World of Tanks. So Breathe Air titles this one Life Game. And yeah, well, it was an absolute dream of a round. Look at all the medals. Radley Walters medal for the 8 kills, gifted to you by your buddy Foshyyasek, who definitely took one for you at the end of the game. A tank sniper medal for dealing a tremendous amount of damage at long range. In this case, 6,000 from over 300 meters. A high caliber for actually the 11,400 damage dealt. Looks like Breathe Air managed to hit a few blind shells in there. And a ridiculous amount of experience at 1,733 base. And again, what is up with all of these epic replays with these gold spammers? 153,000 credits spent on ammunition. But once again, people are still making profit when they are playing in this way, with all of Wargaming's crazy new booster systems. Either way, this slight detraction is kind of the fly in a very large bathtub of ointment of awesomeness that was this game. And we must also highlight that Foshyyasek not only managed to do 2,000 damage themselves in a light tank, but also 3,700 spotting, and had to drive nearly 7 kilometers to be able to get through this one. So Breathe Air and Foshyyasek, congratulations to you on what is one of my favorite showcases of teamwork inside the game. And wow, Breathe Air, I hope you're getting some kind of gift for Foshyyasek, that they were willing to take those 2 WT Alfie 100 shells for you at the end of the game to get you that Radley Walters medal. But be careful, guys. I wonder if you realize that you had kind of like maybe a dice roll of a 1 in 6 or maybe 1 in 10 chance of the WT, you low rolling on them and the WT finishing you off. Anyway, Breathe Air, thank you so much for uploading this replay on the What Replays EU website. I really enjoyed this one, and I hope you felt that my commentary would have added to the game. If everyone enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And again, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite go-to tank for blowing off some steam? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.